Well, the North Korean regime has long been accused of appalling human rights abuses and blamed for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of its own citizens. But there was no mention of human rights in the agreement struck between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump, nor the fate of thousands of prisoners in North Korea's gulags. Well, let's talk now to the UN's Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in North Korea, Tomas Ojea Quintana. Welcome to you. And in fact, the quote from Donald Trump was that the thousands of people in the North Korean gulags are one of the great winners today. Does that show he has enough understanding of the conditions for people in North Korea to be the lead diplomatically on this?
Well, from the joint statement that the two leaders have delivered to the international community, we haven't seen any commitment or any reference to the serious situation of human rights on the ground in North Korea. You mentioned the political prison camps. The situation of these people living in those political prison camps is dire, serious, grave, systematic. And although President Trump has said that human rights was briefly discussed during the summit, the reality is that we haven't seen any commitment from the leader of North Korea in this respect. My understanding as the United Nations Human Rights rapporteur is that there is a need to include a human rights element in the denuclearization negotiations. The situation on the ground remains very, very serious.
And he even went as far to almost seem to praise his authoritarian rule. He said he's a man who had good control of his country. You need a permit, don't you, in North Korea to travel to the next town? You need a registration number plate for your bicycle. You're told what to wear. You're told the range of hairstyles you're allowed. In fact, this isn't good control. This is a purest form of totalitarian control because it is total control.
The question would be, in any denuclearization agreement, if you will have a partner who has this human rights record, and how reliable would that partner will be in any denuclearization agreement? And the second very important issue is, I don't want to see the human rights situation in North Korea to be avoided by any agreement. And that will be the guarantees to the system that the leader of North Korea is asking for, the guarantees of the system. I hope that human rights will not be negotiated in this context. What we need now from North Korea is a gesture, a signal to the international community that they will open up to human rights verification, to human rights assessment, to the UN human rights system. But so far, we haven't seen anything like that.
So will you be seeking reassurances from the US about exactly what was agreed and what was discussed? And are you confident that the Trump administration cares enough about human rights to put it on the agenda?
Not long time ago, President Trump was in South Korea being the champion in denouncing the human rights abuses in North Korea. So I hope that now the government of the United States understands that human rights should be in the agenda in the denuclearization talks. It's not only the United States, it's also the government of the Republic of Korea in this very important rapprochement between the two Koreas, very important for the ethnic Korean people from the Korean Peninsula. But human rights in North Korea should be the guarantees for any denuclearization process. I hope that if the leadership in North Korea shows any gesture in this respect, that will help a lot in the process of negotiations. These important superpowers, like the United States of America, but also China and Russia, need to understand that human rights will not go away from the agenda at the international level, and will be a very important element for the future and the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula.
Tomas Ojea Quintana, UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in North Korea. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Thank you.